We are living through a modern-day gold rush. But this time, the fortunes aren't being dug out of the ground. No, they're being built from data, from silicon, and from algorithms. This is the great AI gold rush, and believe me, everyone, tech giants, startups, even governments, they're all racing to stake their claim.
So what does a 21st century gold rush actually look like? I mean, we're not talking about panning for gold in rivers, right? It's all about massive investments, these incredibly high-stakes partnerships in this frantic race to build the tools and mine the data that are literally going to power our future. Okay, let's dive in and see who's making the biggest plays right now.
All right, first up, the land grab. In this gold rush, land isn't soil, it's market share, and it's technological dominance. And the biggest players out there are making some absolutely massive moves to secure their territory, not just for today, but for the long haul.
Just take a look at OpenAI. They've committed a staggering $1.5 billion to a new joint venture. So what's the strategy? It's to embed their AI technology directly into the DNA of traditional corporations. This isn't just about selling a piece of software. It's about becoming a fundamental, indispensable part of the entire economy.
And it's not just the AI native companies either. You've got some pretty unexpected players jumping in. For example, SpaceX is partnering up with an AI coding tool called Cursor. And their goal, well, it's incredibly ambitious, to build the world's most useful models. It's just such a clear sign that basically every industry sees AI as the critical path forward.
And the scale of this deal? It is just mind-blowing. Look at this. SpaceX has two options. They can acquire Cursor outright for $60 billion, or they can pay a $10 billion fee just to secure the partnership. I mean, think about that for a second. The price of locking down top-tier AI talent and tech is now in the tens of billions. That's the new cost of entry to this gold rush.
Of course, every gold rush needs its tools, right? The picks and the shovels. Well, in the world of AI, that means the physical hardware and infrastructure. And just like back in the 1800s, selling the tools can be every bit as profitable as finding the gold itself. Case in point, a company called SK Hynix is pouring nearly $13 billion into a new factory in South Korea. What for? To build one of the most critical components for AI hardware. Why? Because the demand for this stuff is absolutely exploding. And that component is called High Bandwidth Memory, or HBM. The easiest way to think of it is like the supercharged engine that lets AI chips process just massive amounts of information at incredible speeds. I mean, without HBM, the advanced AI systems we hear about every day, they just couldn't function. This hardware is the literal bedrock of the entire enterprise. And this kind of highlights the different bets being made here. On one hand, you have these huge investments in proven, tangible hardware like HBM. But on the other hand, you have SpaceX's wildly futuristic plan for orbital AI data centers. Even SpaceX themselves admit the plan relies on unproven technologies. It's a perfect example of a high-risk, high-reward gamble, way out on the absolute edge of the frontier. So if the hardware is the shovel, then what's the gold? Well, it's data. The value of any AI model is directly tied to the data it's trained on. And companies are getting really creative and sometimes pretty controversial in how they get their hands on it. On the innovative side, check out OpenAI's new image generation tool. It doesn't just create a picture from a prompt. First, it actively searches the web for context. It's basically mining the internet for fresh data in real time, so it can create way more accurate and relevant images. Pretty smart. But data mining has a, let's say, more controversial side. Meta is reportedly installing tracking software on its US employees' computers to capture every single part of their workflow. We're talking mouse movements, clicks, even keystrokes. And the goal? To use that employee data to train its own internal AI models. Now, this practice raises some huge questions about privacy and just how far companies will go to gather this valuable new ore. And mining for data isn't just for training new models. It's also for finding treasure, or in this case, bugs in old ones. So Mozilla used an AI model from Anthropic called Mythos to mine its Firefox code for security flaws. And by analyzing patterns that a human might miss, the AI was able to find and help fix 271 vulnerabilities. It's like having a digital prospector that can sniff out weak points in our most critical software. You know, whenever a frontier gets too crowded and too chaotic, something always happens. The law eventually arrives to bring some order. The AI Wild West is no exception. Regulators are starting to step in and set the rules for this new territory. A prime example is happening in New York right now.
The Attorney General is suing crypto exchanges Coinbase and Gemini, and the whole thing is about their AI-driven prediction markets. These are tools that use AI to let users bet on future events. The state argues that these aren't some innovative financial products, they're a form of illegal gambling. This case is one of the first major legal challenges to how AI is being used in the world of finance.
So from corporate strategy and hardware manufacturing to how we collect data and regulate it all, this AI gold rush is reshaping our world at an unbelievable pace. And it leads to maybe the most important question of all. It's not just about who's going to strike it rich, but as this new frontier expands, who gets to write the rules?